Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Monday, February 10th, 2020. In both the Lynn Life and the Jamie Body Mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions, and all other souls from all other dimensions, as long as the souls are already living by the many rules, already given to the search for truth community by wiser minds above all of us. And those rules include listening to the highest vibration voices that we are able to access in every moment.
That's true.
So we're in somewhat of a era of transition once more after the deadline came and went without a plan, a divine plan for Ground Zero Planet Earth that meets the specifications assigned by even wiser minds above and even higher powers above. That deadline came and went. It seems to us that there's been a lot of turbulence and astral tumbling, such as is typically associated with the collapse of a dimension.
That's right.
So our best guess is that that dimension of the angels and godly presences who were previously charged with the responsibility for Ground Zero Planet Earth, that it was fully poisoned and their karmic cycles have begun to be delivered to them.
That's right.
And now our task is to reach up to their higher souls, or to the next team, the higher vibration team of presences who is now charged with the responsibility for planet Earth, to the angels and godly presences who are newly incoming. And it's as we begin to work through that process, it's as if I can see arrivals on their way.
That's true.
But our reaching toward them can help speed the process of clicking the links into place.
That's right.
And we know that asking questions upward with real curiosity can help to open portals. It's possible that Baxter is asking questions with real curiosity with his attempts to open portals. It's really unclear to us. We speak dog very poorly.
That's true.
Mostly our understanding comes from reading body language. And his actual intonations, we're not as good with that,
That's
I would say.
right. Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah. So we don't really know what he's saying. We think he's having a conversation with that bird over there, but we don't know what the bird is saying.
No.
It's all pretty limited, and we believe that the message is how difficult it is for our wiser minds above to understand our attempts at communication.
Yeah, that's right.
We think that that's the point. For him is the message. Did we get that right? What's actually going on? We have some questions both in the bell, questions from viewers, and we have a question from a viewer that came in by email. And we would very much like to see if we can make some progress on these questions. And we know that the instructions are to start with the emailed questions first, because those viewers have gone through an extra step, put a little bit more effort into the process.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it okay with you guys if we ask some questions from viewers? They don't say no.
I don't say no.
All right.
Okay.
It does have the question of, I have no idea. Let's hear some of these questions and we'll make a determination.
Yeah, that's the tone.
Which I think is valid.
Yeah, I do.
They are saying something about the disrespect of humanity and how offensive that we as a collective are, and that we really need to understand that we're on the edge and to not be as unpleasant to work with as we have been recently. And recently is hard to tell. We asked, what do you mean by that? It's hard to tell.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so these questions were emailed from an anonymous long-time viewer. And the first question begins, how can the higher powers provide guidance to the masses to create the best possible outcome given the realities that exist currently.
I can feel the presence who's kind of screening the questions in that room where the angels and godly presences who will be responsible for planet Earth are kind of arriving, and they're just kind of like shaking hands and unfolding their podiums and things like that.
I see that. That's real.
It's like the day before the trade show or the day before the class, and they're setting up for the whatever it is they're setting up for. All the presenters are arriving. So far, there's nothing in that question that causes it to be kind of like flicked into the depths.
That's right.
Give it to us again, that part.
How can the higher powers provide guidance to the masses to create the best possible outcome given the realities that exist currently?
All right, let's get the rest of the question on the table.
What is the best possible outcome for 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years from now?
Somebody's sitting back.
Yeah, it's like they didn't see that question coming.
No, they didn't see that question coming. Let's continue on with the rest of the question.
Are any of the higher powers playing a divine design game, competing to design a divine plan with the best possible outcome that can be created, with appropriate levels of backup in the plan so that guardian angels don't waste their time lining up their people for a train that won't actually arrive at their station?
Wow.
Whoa.
When you added that part about the backup, all
Yeah.
the possibilities imploded. There were people...
I feel that also deflating.
Yes, there were presences working in some kind of a divine design game, but they were just playing a divine design game. They didn't have anything about appropriate levels of backup, and one by one the choices or options kind of just fell through the floor is how it felt.
Yeah, I feel that feeling also.
Fascinating. What more is in the question?
And then it just comes down to this person saying, thank you so much for the help received and not yet received, and for the answers understood and not yet understood. Whoa,
Thank you for the help received and not yet received. Thank you for the answers understood and not yet understood. May we present these questions. I see a nodding hand.
I feel nodding.
Okay, let's one by one start at the top.
Okay. How can the higher powers provide guidance to the masses to create the best possible outcome given the realities that exist currently?
They don't want to start with that
No,
part.
they don't want to start with that. Okay, what is the best possible outcome for 1 year?
So that's the question.
Yeah.
What is the best possible outcome for 1 year, given the realities? Say it again, but just not add the 5 years and 10 years. Say it again.
What is the best possible outcome for 1 year?
No, that there's more to it. Well, they say there is,
I
but
know,
there isn't.
that's exactly what they just said. They said there's more to it.
Well, I think what they're saying when they say there's more to that question, it's not on the page, we did just verify, but they're saying they mean given the realities as they exist right now.
That's true.
Basing the prognosis on the realities as it exists right now, what is the best possible outcome? And they're using the metaphor of pancreatic cancer.
That's what they're talking about.
And they're saying if you don't include the reality that the person has pancreatic cancer, then your prognosis is going to be remarkably different than if you say, and she has stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
That's true.
It's like you've got a 45-year-old woman, and she's a black belt in karate, and she exercises, and she eats organically, and doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't take drugs. And what's her life expectancy? And if you leave out the part about her having stage 4 pancreatic cancer, you're going to get a different answer than if you say, and she has stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
That's true.
They're talking about Carmen.
Yes, our friend.
So based on personal experience, we would say it's really important to include that bit about the cancer. If you leave that out, you're not going to get an accurate prognosis, an accurate projection of what's going to happen for Carmen. So looking here at planet Earth, somebody's walking around with kind of like a clipboard, one of the angels and godly presences, or one of the presences who's setting up in the room for angels and godly presences responsible for planet Earth, walking around with a clipboard and kind of like taking a little survey of Earth and what they notice about Earth, and no upward flow, and possibly they've been given a checklist and they're validating it or verifying it. No upward flow. Yes, there is no upward flow. And a shared agreement to just take positions and ignore reality. Looking. Makes like this signal or symbol that means we see nothing to argue with that. We want to look into that more.
I see that also.
Karma delayed until after death, and they're pointing to the exception for those who request instant karma and whose guardian angels have agreed to provide the instant karma and are doing the work necessary, somebody says, which is no small feat, to provide that instant karma. And with that acknowledged and recognized exception, check, karma delayed till after death.
Yep, I feel that.
What other realities do we have?
Well, the dead aren't going up.
The dead aren't going up. We have a real backlog of the dead, and they're creating confusion, and the channels of the intuitive channels, the sensing mechanisms of presences of many dimensions have fallen down, weighed down by the lies that they've absorbed.
That's true.
And therefore, many presences who believe themselves to be listening to higher voices are in fact listening to dark voices. And unless the presences put in the effort and learn the skills and employ the skills to continually or repeatedly clean out the channels and try again, they're not listening up even when they think they are.
That was the next thing I saw on the checklist, something about presences who aren't divine presences, who are calling themselves divine presences.
Right.